we're paying for 1,750 phone lines coming in down here. We're maybe using about 1,000 of them, but I'm still paying for 1,750. So we're going through department by department and auditing what really needs to be done with these phones. So you can see, this is, again, I tell people I'm not picking on you personally, I pick on everybody. And we really do, because we got to be more efficient. We're going to cut our $90,000 maintenance bill with Verizon by some double-digit percentage by going through and auditing how many of these phone lines we're doing. And it's the same thing. It's a business. I mitigate risk. That's my job. So if phones are ringing and nobody's there, then to answer the phone, and people are leaving messages that aren't getting returned, then taxpayers are getting mad, and they won't pass the sales tax. So...
But the phone and the computer were on
when he was in the office, they were both there, to my knowledge. So
Okay, so they weren't turned off?
he couldn't. Well, he couldn't log in because he doesn't have he doesn't have a user ID anymore because that was shut off.
What if he asked for one? Was he going to get one?
He never asked for one.
Well, what if he had?
He's not an employee in my site right now.
Okay,
it would have been no.
So my report that he didn't have access to a computer was accurate, right? Because he didn't have a...
He can't log in. He couldn't log into the computer because he's not in my eyes, he's not an employee. 32102, the treasurer shall deliver a bond to the auditor. I don't have a bond. I can't do anything with him.
So I got that right.
What's that part?
That the bond is the sticking point.
For me, personally, yes.
Okay.
So,
but he he could pick up the telephone.
He could have picked up the phone, or he could have turned on the computer. I mean, he couldn't do anything with the computer per se, but he could have picked up the phone.
Because all you do is get, what, a screensaver?
A login screen that says enter your ID and your password.
So he couldn't do anything with
He
it.
couldn't sit there and surf the net or play poker or anything, in addition to not being
Those are
able
your
to
comments.
access the county business.
Correct. Again, my job.
Email.
Correct. My job's to mitigate risk, and right now I can't have an office holder who's not bonded doing his job. So that's why I have all these checks and balances in place upstairs.
And now, what's the status of the telephone if he comes in? Was he in today, do you know?
To my knowledge, he hasn't been here.
Okay. So if he comes in tomorrow, is he going to be able to use the phone?
He'd have to call and talk to me about it.
Okay, so right now it's off, right?
Right. As is, so we went, think about it from this way. We went through, and why it's easy for us to do in the treasurer's office is because we did all this planning for the phone system. So I have a good map for how all phone calls are supposed to go in the treasurer's system. So if I take one out of the loop, it's easy for me to keep the loop back together. We're doing the same thing in my office right now. I picked us next because, again, we laid off 12 people, or we laid off 9, but we're down 15 or 16 people from time. But all those people had phones. Some of them were used, some of them were not. So we're going and doing the same thing in my office now, too, where, every phone, if we have a phone number coming in, it has a body. So if people change, people move desks and that, I know what I have to move. I know how I have to keep them in the queue. It makes it a lot easier to do it versus, we're just going to let that phone ring. Somebody can dial that number now. At least they get a signal it's a non-working number, or I can make it automatically roll. I don't know how Anita set it up. You'd have to, like if you dialed Alex's old number or Gary's old number, the treasurer's old number, I'm sure she set it up so like it rings to the main number in the treasurer's office. I mean, I'm sure we wouldn't say, just let it keep ringing.
But the phone is out of the loop now. Somebody in that office couldn't pick up the phone and make a phone call.
Correct,
right?
Because that's bad business.
Okay, and that was done this morning?
I think the staff probably did it this morning, yeah.
Okay.
Did he come in yesterday?
He was here, to my knowledge, from about 12 to 12:30.